So while from the beginning of the Boruto series, one of the major things that has been teased and has been said, and even within the latest chapter of the Boruto manga, chapter 67, has once again been reminded, is the fact that there is going to come a point where Boruto loses everything. Boruto is going to lose everything. Those blue eyes that will lose everything. And that was something that was teased to him very early on in the manga, the anime, and all of that good stuff. However, it to me comes across, especially with the latest couple chapters, 66 and 67, it really pushes forward more of a narrative of how much truly our boy from the original, you know, the father of Boruto, you know what I'm saying, Boruto's dad, Naruto, how much has he lost and how much has he suffered with this series. There's some things that you could throw the argument and I completely will hear it and understand it and feel like, yeah, there's a certain degree of validity to what you're saying when you say that introducing Boruto as an idea in general ultimately kind of muddies what Naruto did, is because no Boruto, Naruto ends up with a happy ending. Conclusive, that's it. Nothing more needs to be said. You open up new plot lines and whatnot, especially extending on. You gotta have conflict. You gotta raise the level of conflict at that from the previous series. If not, longtime fans are gonna be like, oh, come on, this is, you know, what are we doing here? So after a certain point, Boruto needed to get to the level that it's at right now. And it's just all a mess. Because ultimately, again, it just makes it that there's a lot of sad stuff happening to Naruto. And in this chapter, yet again, of Boruto, my gosh, is there a lot to say. A lot to say about Shikamaru, the walking L that he's become in Boruto. I can't believe I'm even saying that, dog. Somebody that idolized that kid so freaking much back when he was in Naruto, and now as a man, I'm like, dog, what are you doing? To just a lot. Without further ado, let's jump into it, baby. Let's talk a little bit of this. Dare I say it, greatness? Can we say greatness? Let's get into it.
No matter how you move, get it done. No matter how you move, get it done. No matter how you move, get it done. No matter how you move, get it done.
I love it how everybody is just confused by the plot that is currently, you know, running in the story and whatnot. All the characters are clueless because in off rip of the new chapter, minus, you know, the colored page that we got of Ada and whatnot, ultimately everybody is questioning there, and Code is like, I didn't even foresee that this Kawaki guy was gonna do this. And, you know, him and Ada talking back and forth. Everybody's just like, holy cow, he actually did this. What the hell is going on? So everybody's a little bit confused. Everybody's just like, what the hell is going on? Naruto's in shock over there. Shikamaru is in shock of how much of a bitch he's become over here in these Boruto parts, but we'll get to that in a little bit, because of course Boruto is dead on the floor, and that forces Ada to, you know, tell immediately to Code, like, yo, dog, don't think that means that you can harm Kawaki. If you harm even so much as a hair on his head, you're going to have an issue. Just throwing that in there. But also kind of makes you wonder, well, what is she going to do? Like, she doesn't seem to be the combative person. I mean, I guess her bro there, right, which we learn a little bit more about. Okay, we see where the muscles really lie. Because then Code says essentially he is retreating. He kicked Shikamaru away. Like, oh my god, it's just so... First of all, why didn't Code do something at the very least until the end? You know what I'm saying, to leave his mark and put some fear into their hearts, or something other than just kicking Shikamaru like a little loser that they're showcasing him to be at Naruto there. I was just like, what the hell is going on? And then on top of that, it's just like, yo, so you gotta retreat because you're weak. I don't know. I've been saying it, dog, ever since Ishiki Otsutsuki left. We're chasing the ghost of what? Like, who's the real, you know what I'm saying? It feels like it's a body that's running without a head right now, because Code is still like, you know, a goon up and coming. Ada is, you know, just obsessed with a boy, and everything else is happening. Her little brother been sleeping. He don't know, he's just a kid, whatnot. Like, who is really supposed to run this? And that's one of the things that brings me to believe, and something that even the end of the chapter kind of showcase, is the fact that the people that is going to be running it, and the person that gotta run it, is either Amado or Kawaki. But especially, it's looking almost like if what was said early on, and obviously Kodachi isn't writing the Boruto manga anymore, but one of the things that he was inspired when he was creating the Boruto manga was by My Hero Academia. You look over there, Code, Ada, Daemon, they're kind of looking like they're a little bit of a mini League of Villains. You know, you had Kawaki being the head of it all, and you had, I guess you would say, Amado as being, what would Amado be? I guess all for one, right? Something like that. Like, you got the basis there of what maybe Kodachi initially was trying to establish to begin with. It's almost as if we're having the villain's origin story, and the villain leader of this organization is just cut off to the side. But upon Code attempting to leave, Kawaki uses his eye technique to shrink the claw marks on the ground so that Code can't just jump away, and once again just even further pushing that, oh, oh wow, so the main villain is trying to run away and they're not even letting him, making him look even more lame. Of like, okay, we really need these limiters because right now, dog, you looking mid. You are looking mid, bro. And Kawaki just looks like a raging lunatic. At this point, it seems almost as more of an obsession when it comes to the 7th. He says, you don't get it. Anyone that attempts to get in my way of saving the 7th is basically an op. So essentially, Kawaki, he just, I don't know, he comes across, he is unstable. It's a valid statement to kind of throw towards the Kawaki direction of, he does come across as unstable. Like anybody, if it's a freaking roach right now that is jumping a lily pad and it might scratch the 7th, he might bug out and pull his arm out. Like, dude is nuts. But also in that statement, he threw anybody, including my bro, that gets in my way, which really makes it a problem, because then they, you know, what are you doing? You're attacking Boruto in Boruto, like, yeah, there's gonna be consequences, fam. And we see for a little bit, Kawaki manhandling Code, yet again pushing even more forward that Code ain't no leader, by any means. By any means is Code any type of, no, like, yo, you're getting manhandled by Kawaki again. What? Ishiki would never. I'm starting to feel like, one of those people like, yo, bring back Ishiki. Okay, bring back Ishiki, let's do, what are we doing here? Who is this Code that is getting manhandled right here? And then Shikamaru, after getting the boot up the behind, runs over and he sees Naruto is in complete utter shock. Naruto just keeps on reiterating, this gotta be a dream, this can't be real, what is going on? Like, because he's seen, you know, his son dead in his arms, which again, one of those things that's traumatic. Even if, you know, everything that happens towards the end of the chapter, that's just more trauma that Naruto didn't need to experience. That's just more issues. And again, where's Sasuke? You gotta throw that in there. Where's Sasuke? Where's Kakashi? Where's Tsunade? Where's anybody at? Huh? Like, oh, okay, yeah, they don't exist anymore. When Boruto, yeah. Like, dog, I always throw this in there, people attack me. Like, what is he gonna do? But still, nevertheless, he can be present. Like, where's Kiba and his dog? You telling me his dog don't smell the trouble? And I love how, too, Shikamaru's trying to remind Naruto, like, yo, dog, you still Hokage. You gotta do what you need to do. And Naruto really just don't give a fuck at this point. He's like, this is my son. Come on now. Now you playing with that Hokage shit. Like, that's all fine and cute. But when it comes to my family, dog, you gotta relax. You gotta move up off me right now with that shit. Like, oh, yeah, yo, Shikamaru was the walking L of the century of this chapter. There was a L of the week. I don't care. As much as Shikamaru was a dude that I rock with so heavy, one of my favorites of Naruto. Ooh, he's looking so bad out in these streets after these chapters. Like, just a hostage, getting the boot. Like, can't even get through to your Hokage. What? And once again, we cut back to yet again Kawaki stabbing Code with rods, talking about whoever it is that wants to meet me. I don't know who they are, and I don't know what their motives is, but if it has anything to do opposing the 7th, oh, I'll hurt you. Like, again, a raging lunatic that he seems to be. And then we get the shock of the century where Kawaki is loading up a blast about to take Code out, and suddenly Kawaki is the one that goes flying from the blast, and we see that very calculative. I like this one. It was actually creative. I gotta commend them for how they did it. That ultimately we find out that the reason Kawaki was the one that took the blast and not Code is Code pulled Daemon. He had an X around Daemon and pulled Daemon from out of his sleep and used his reflect technique. I ain't gonna lie, just automatically whenever I think of a technique like that, I go straight away to the 7 Deadly Sins Meliodas. I'm like, oh, he's using the Meliodas technique. Nice. And I love too that I'd imagine all of them are thinking, yo, did this guy just pull a kid out of his head? How many more people we got to deal with? What is going on here? And then when they bring that, you know, info back to Amado, obviously this is like a closing of everything. Amado could probably decide, oh, so Daemon, and then it'll give him more clues as to, okay, Ada's probably leading this whole crusade, assuming he's not trying to play it off and he already knows all this anyway. And I love too how Koda automatically just pushes him back in, like, okay, thanks for your help. Like, you know, freaking, like, Daemon's like, yo, I'm ready to go, let's go. And he's like, no, go back now. Goodbye, child. And Code, because he's in a real pickle, like, he really, you know, he gotta satisfy Ada, but at the same time he has his own urges, but he still pushes his hand through that last claw mark right there, checks Kawaki's pulse, and he's like, don't worry, he's still alive, alright? Because Ada once again threatens him, this time around threatening him, saying, oh, I will send Daemon to dispose of you. So if I'm gathering everything, it looks like Ada truly depends on Daemon to be her shield, her knight in shining armor, so to speak, because she probably, again, doesn't have any way of defending herself. She's more of like, she could give you all the intel in the world, but you get your hands on her and Yeah. But then Code essentially admits he's no match for Kawaki, yet again looking ridiculous, talking about, I need my limiters taken off. I need to get Amado to take the limiters off. It's a sad, sad day, dog. Like, again, it'd be different if it was presented as this was Code's uprising of being like, you know, the Shigaraki with the League of Villains, but that wasn't how it was introduced. He was just introduced as a flunky that now is taking center stage because maybe plans got changed. So I still don't believe like Code is the main or what. Bring back Ishiki, damn it. I know his soul is gone. I don't know. Draw a picture of him and pretend this little piece of paper is Ishiki. He's back. Yay. Motherfuckers still have more chakra than Sasuke. However, following that little rant there, Code dips, and then Shikamaru starts screaming at Naruto about something else. Like, Shikamaru is just, oh god, I don't know, man, how they've done Shikamaru in this manga. He's there arguing back and forth to Naruto basically about what to do with Kawaki, because ultimately, you know, Kawaki did just pierce Boruto without any remorse or whatnot, and the fact that Naruto still is looking at him as family right now, and Shikamaru's in disbelief, like, no, really, like, this is really how you legitimately feel, because he's trying to say, like, no, dog, whatever we do with him, yeah, okay, we're not going to throw him out of the village because we don't want to inconvenience any of the other villages, but Naruto is there like, no, that's still family. So despite his anger of, yo, when he was saying that's my son in regards to Boruto, you know, back in the last chapter, ultimately he still isn't like dismissing Kawaki. I still think he genuinely loves him. He's just in disbelief at this whole situation at that particular point. And Shikamaru even really tries to push it like, yo, dog, he killed your son. And it was just a reply of like, yo, just shush. Like, dog, just chill. And then we get the shock of a century. Nobody was really shocked. We knew it was going to be some way, somehow, Boruto was going to be, you know, still alive and kicking. Hello, we got that time skip to go through. But Boruto raises his arm and says, who was killed? Essentially confirming that he's still alive. And we get this whole big explanation as to essentially how, now that I think about it, wow, so now with the wrapping of all of this stuff, now we know two major things. Both Boruto and Kawaki, a problem that was initially established following the Ishiki arc, that damn, how do we get this karma that was mutating on Boruto? How do we stop it and get rid of the, you know, karma from him? Likewise with Kawaki, and then Kawaki essentially having that urge to want it back. So ultimately it's like this got rid of Ishiki's soul completely and gave karma back to Kawaki, and now with everything that went down, which we'll get in a second, it also gives Boruto still, hey, you got karma, but now it's no longer with the risk of Momoshiki taking completely over. Now, again, Momoshiki gets to become a permanent Kurama, nine-tailed fox, aka, you know, what Kurama was to Naruto. Like, realistically, that's where we're going with it, because he no longer poses that threat of coming out. But I ain't gonna lie, again, a lot of this chapter, if emotionally it impacted me in any way, it was towards Naruto. Like, when he breaks down crying again after seeing his son is alive or whatnot. That was where the emotional thing came for me personally. It's just like, oh shit, my son is still alive. You know, when you love your kids immensely, like my daughter's sleeping right next to me right here. When you love your kids like that, dog, yeah, that's how you're going to react. So that kind of hit me on a personal level, and just in general, the way it was handled, I love it. Then of course, Shikamaru, the wet blanket that he is, no, questions how Boruto is alive, considering he saw that his chest was impaled, and suddenly when he looks over, he sees now Boruto's chest is covered with a karma mark, completely covering the hole that he had on his chest, and it's like, whoa, what the hell? And that's where we go into the whole, again, flashback of Boruto and Momoshiki telling him that, hey, first of all, if you die, I die. Can't have that happen now, can we? Second of all, yeah, I kind of healed you, and it kind of screwed me over. It was like, hey, I still want to exist in this, you know, realm, in this world, so to speak, but yeah, now because there was 18% left, and I shot that 18% at healing you, I can no longer resurrect, so I'm basically stuck with you, and essentially, yeah, no more, like, that's the end of the Otsutsuki, if I'm not mistaken, right? Well, we got Tonetti, that whatever the manga is doing canon-wise with him, but yeah, it looks like the end of, and a new beginning, really completely wiping out the possibility of an Otsutsuki returning, other than maybe some sort of mutation that could happen with Boruto. Maybe there's still some way that Boruto could allow, like, you know, unsealing Kurama, so to speak. But now that Boruto is full Otsutsuki, he's perfect for the taking, for the beast, for the Ten Tails to eat him, so there's that negativity. I guess it's like, hey, no more, I won't be possessed, but now I could be, you know, having a nice little nap, and good old Code is gonna yank me up and throw me inside of the mouth of a monster. That's not good. Also, Momo warns him of something that kind of, I would even say arguably makes it a little bit sus to look at Boruto now in retrospect, because considering at any given moment, Momoshiki could have saved Boruto, so Boruto, the character himself, ever since he got the karma, was technically safe from death, if you think about it that way. kind of crazy. And then one of the biggest things that really sets up even further for the future of Boruto is the fact that Boruto, as he's talking to Momoshiki, learning all of this, he says, well, you once told me that I was going to lose everything. I just died. Is that what you meant? And Momoshiki has a Chico laugh there, mate. He starts laughing away, laughing it up like, oh my god, mate, I can't believe it. Oh, and says, nah, fam, this is not like this is, you know, light work, pa. You got something else coming. You got some shit. I'm telling you, you got some shit. Which all this time we've never really even referenced it, but essentially Momoshiki is basically like, yo, I can see the future. Well, how much of the future can you see, dog? Like, what my bank account looking like at that time period? Tell me that. And he also teased as well that even he doesn't know why that will come to pass, whatever happens to him. So that's something that's kind of puzzling me. Like, what do you mean you don't know why? What? More suspense and build up or whatnot. And then the chapter ends off with, again, the very League of Villain-esque visual where Ada and Code and Daemon are together, and Ada in particular is questioning Daemon, like, okay, Amado is in the, you know, eye of Konoha, he's in the middle of the village, protected and whatnot. Now, how do you plan on getting over there? You don't got no X marks inside of the leaf and whatnot. What is the next opportunity? And the ultimate walking L, Shikamaru. Apparently, it's signifying that Shikamaru is the one that has the claw mark on him that will allow Code to return once again to the village and continue this charade. Honestly, Shikamaru, like, I ain't gonna lie, dog. You're starting to be one of the biggest disappointments of Boruto, and please don't make me feel that way. I know people are going to feel like I picked on Shikamaru. No, come on, dog. If a rat is a rat, then a rat is a rat. If a pig is a pig is a pig. Shikamaru, I don't know. I wouldn't say you're a rat or a pig, dog, but you disappointed as a motherfucker right now, bro. In all honesty, though, I gotta say that interesting stuff definitely went a different way than I expected it would in terms of how all this went out, and I'm not referring to Boruto. I know Boruto somehow, some way was going to come back to life. I just thought they could have shaked things up a bit. So the fact that we're still not even heading into the time skip, huh? Interesting, chaotic times. It looks like we're gonna be pre-time skip for a lot longer. Maybe the anime is doing great and they don't want to rush to the time skip. Who the hell knows? Or they need more content. I don't know. It's shocking to me that he didn't get the scar on his eye and we didn't go into the time skip with this bout either. It seems like they're stretching pre-time skip for some odd reason. Maybe sales in some market is doing great. Maybe they're not ready for another relaunch or a rebranding just yet of the IP. But yeah, and I think of all those marketing things at the same time. Like, yeah, this is big business. But either way, your thoughts on Boruto chapter 67. Where do you think this is all going to go? And your expectations for the future. That's all I have for this one, though. Thanks for watching. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day. And remember the golden rule: anime and manga for life, boy. Have an awesome day. Peace in, and yeah, no time skip. Time skip boy is down bad. Yeah, have an awesome one.
You